This week I wanted to do some retro gaming on the freshly restored Commodore 286 and play Sierra Online's 1989 The Colonel's Bequest. Like many other games from this era, it supports significantly better sound with the Roland MT-32 instead of playing it with a regular sound card. The MT-32 can for some games be connected to the joystick port of the Sound Blaster, but some games like The Colonel's Bequest require a rare and expensive Roland MPU-401. There is a way to get around this with software, but unfortunately soft MPU requires a 386 or faster machine. Luckily there is a fix for this, the hard MPU 1.1. I ordered some PCBs from the sponsor of this video, PCB AOYUE. Let's build one up and see if it's any good. For this project I went with gold and matte green PCBs. We tried these out quite recently on the Adlib replica card, and it instantly became my favorite card. The gold really pops on these matte green PCBs, so they look pretty neat. This card actually has unusually comprehensive building instructions, and according to those, the first component to go in is D1, which is a 4148, and the next component to go in is a fuse. And next we have a bunch of resistors. So what this card does is to add Intelligent Mode for the Roland MT-32, required by some but not all games. And this card actually makes a lot of sense, because there's a pretty decent list of games that will run nicely on a 286 and require Intelligent Mode. And some games will actually run too fast on a 386, like the game that I want to play today, at least according to Google. Okay, all the resistors are in. I better do some soldering before it gets too crammed. Unfortunately my camera turns this matte green PCB into a pretty dull color. In real life here it's a very vivid lime green color, looking pretty awesome. Next up we have all the sockets. I'm really impressed by the building instructions for this project. They seem to be aimed at absolute beginners. So if you're looking for your very first project, this could be a good choice. I normally just install the smallest component first and then move up in size. But since the instructions are going through every single component, I might as well just play along. And that means the crystal and one tantalum cap. And then we've got these two 18 pico ceramic caps. And all the remaining caps are 0.1 micro. All the components, by the way, are clearly marked on the PCB. So super easy card to build. Okay, we are nearing completion. Next we have some pin headers, and I'm going to solder these guys with some jumpers installed to keep them nice and straight. These are single row pin headers. Dual row pin headers would have been easier to install, but apparently I don't have any. Okay, the only thing left to solder now is the connector. And that reminded me of the bracket, of course. Now we could use a blank and cut a hole, but that is my least favorite thing to do when building cards. So instead I ordered the standard bracket from AliExpress, but unfortunately it doesn't line up with this card. So I went through my stash here, and one of my graphics cards actually have a matching bracket, so we're going to snatch it. And if you got some KiCad skills, pick your bracket first, and then you may want to move these pads to where they will fit your bracket. I don't know if there's a standard for these or not, but that would definitely be worth checking before you order PCBs. Okay, next we need a custom cable. I grabbed a regular DIN cable and cut it in half. And then I'm just going to use the instructions to solder all the cables to the connector that fits the card. This is no fun to watch, so I'll skip ahead here. Well, that turned out to be the most difficult part of this project. I just spent 2 evenings trying to figure this cable out. Instead of the pin numbers, the instructions are referring to the colors of the wires inside the cable. So I went through quite a few cables, and they're all different. So as far as I can tell, the colors of the wires have not been standardized. So I've been trying a whole bunch of combinations, and nothing worked. Until I finally got lucky, and on page 17, in this forum thread, someone took a picture and marked out which pin goes to which on the 2 connectors. This is the MIDI out, by the way, And as far as I can tell, MIDI in is not used on this card. So I decided to skip it. So if you ever decide to build this card, this is the picture you need to solder the wires correctly to the connector. Now it's finally done and I can install the housing. Next I installed all the chips in the sockets. And then I downloaded hard MPU.hex in the bin folder on GitHub and programmed the microcontroller. Aside from programming the microcontroller, I also had to set the fuses in XG Pro. I'll put something on the screen here so you have all the settings. I found this picture in the forum thread too. One thing to mention here is that the cable is marked MIDI out and it connects to MIDI in on the Roland MT-32. And the MIDI in cable should be connected to MIDI out. But since I don't think it's in use, I just skipped it completely. I have a CT2910 Sound Blaster 16 Pro in this machine. This card doesn't have a jumper to disable MPU-401, so I changed one of the jumpers here instead to set it to use port 300, freeing up 330 for the MPU-401 card. So if we turn the Commodore on now, we've got hard MPU on the display, so everything seems to be working now. Finally. This is, by the way, the Commodore that we have restored and repaired in another video. We have also overclocked it from the already pretty fast 16 MHz to a very impressive 25 MHz. I have been using it since then and it seems to run perfectly stable. I've actually not had a single glitch. So Commodore went with a pretty impressive motherboard in this machine. We have also installed a CD-ROM drive, a sound card and Windows 3.0 Multimedia Edition. Essentially turning it into a very early and super fast multimedia PC. And with the addition of the hard MPU card, this should be a pretty perfect machine for early DOS gaming. Okay, let's test one thing at a time. Let's start with a game that doesn't require Intelligent Mode. And it totally works. So this is one of the games that take really good advantage of the MT-32. And if you're new to the Roland MT-32, it's essentially a synthesizer without a keyboard, similar to the more famous Roland D50. What makes them both quite unique is that they use something called LA synthesis. Back when they were new, sample memory was quite expensive, so Roland used a trick. They combined very short samples with added regular FM synth sounds. And if you ask me, I think it sounds pretty cool. Okay, now let's try a game that actually does require Intelligent Mode. And on Roland MT-32, it's displaying Welcome to the 20s. And then we are presented with the most annoying copy protection I have ever seen. At the back of the included map, there are hidden fingerprints. And by using this special included magnifying glass in red, we need to match one of the fingerprints with the fingerprint on the screen. Super annoying. Someone should find the guy responsible for this and slap him. Okay, I think I found it. And I think it belongs to Lillian Prune here. The curtain is about to go up. Please be seated. No, I have not tried this game before, so let's hit no here. Okay, and the sound works. Awesome. And apparently someone is signing his will. Okay, and apparently that was the last thing he did. Okay, so just a few seconds into the game and we already have blood. And this is one of the early Sierra games. And the responsible guys are, of course, Ken and Roberta Williams. Okay, and then we've got some ladies on the screen that look like they belong in The Great Gatsby. And then they're off by a boat. A very tiny boat with bad brakes. And we have arrived at a pretty nice mansion. I'm skipping ahead here a bit. But apparently we are late for dinner. Okay, so an old dude rolled in. Apparently he's very wealthy. And he seems to think he's about to die soon. And all the guys on the table are apparently going to inherit his money. And they will inherit equally when he goes. If any of you should die before I do, your share will be distributed equally to the surviving parties. Oh, I see where this is going. I think we're going to have some mass murder here to get a bigger cut of that will. Well, that's what it looks like to me. Well, I'm not going to spoil the game for you, in case you want to play it yourself, so I'll play the rest off camera. The card clearly works, and with the added instructions in this video, I'd say it's a very simple project to build, and will make your AT useful for a bunch more early retro games. So a bit shorter video this week, because I had to travel for my day job this month. I am, however, back in the studio now, and I will start recording the next video tomorrow already. Before you leave, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and consider joining me on Patreon, and I'll see you guys again next week.